All right, Greg, and welcome to St. Louis for our second game of this Midwest Regional semifinal action. The number 7 seed Running Rebels of UNLV taking on the 3rd-seeded Ducks of Oregon. The winner of this nightcap will move on to meet Florida, as you've indicated, Greg, in the Elite Eight, the final here in the Midwest Regional. Starting lineups for the Running Rebels. It'll be Wendell White, Wink Adams, and Kruger at the guards. There is Wendell White, an outstanding all-around player. Asenge and Ume rounding out the starting 5 for the Running Rebels. The Ducks of Oregon, Tajuan Porter and Aaron Brooks will be in the backcourt. And the front court action consists of Marty Lunan, Bryce Taylor, and Malik Harrison. Tonight's game is brought to you in HD TV by Harris Corporation, the world leader in broadcast systems for high-definition television and mobile media. And the officials for tonight's contest, Edward Corbett, Reggie Greenwood, and David Hall. Lon Kruger, in his 3rd year at UNLV, one of just 2 active coaches to take 4 different schools to the tournament. Meanwhile, the head man for the Ducks of Oregon, a 1977 graduate of Oregon, Ernie Kent, in his 10th year as the head coach.
This game will be a contrasting style from the first game we saw with Florida and Butler, where Butler controlled the tempo and Florida played Butler's game. Here you expect both of these teams to get up and down, spread the floor, get their perimeter guys loose.
UNLV with the first offensive possession. This is Kevin Kruger at the point. Kruger, of course, the son of the coach, Lon Kruger. And we head the other way, Len, as we get set, taking a look at the keys of the contest.
Well, UNLV usually even on the boards in their rebound margin. They've got to find a way to get to the long defensive rebounds from the long shots that Oregon will possibly take. And Oregon certainly want to keep the lanes wide with their guys, Porter and Brooks, off the bounce. They don't have a peer in the nation if they can get the space in the driving room.
Shot, Hairston, tapped back in by Marty Lunan.
Well, again, that was a short rebound that UNLV did not get. But they've got to be able to control the boards and keep Oregon from getting second chance opportunities.
And on that first offensive possession, it was an offensive foul called against Wendell White. Ume. Loose ball controlled by the Running Rebels. Wink Adams back out to Kruger.
Oregon will play primarily man-to-man, although they will go to a matchup now and then.
White too far into the basket, couldn't get it.
And here's where they're tough. Look at the quickness right there.
Couldn't get the drop, though, was Tajuan Porter at 5'6". Kruger. Strong follow by Asenge. He could not get the follow. This is Brooks. Tajuan Porter at 5'6". I tell you, I love this guy's game. You can't tell me that he doesn't play big with his attitude.
Well, after watching him on TV, you know, it's this kind of thing that I usually get. And people say, you don't look that big on TV. Well, Tajuan Porter didn't look that small on TV either, but he is definitely living up to his nickname throughout this season as Mighty Mouse.
Adams. Rebounded. This is Aaron Brooks for the Ducks. And Brooks dropping in the basket for Oregon, out to a 4-0 lead over UNLV.
And James, that's an example of keeping the lane spread wide to give Porter and Brooks an opportunity to work you off the bounce.
Speaking of keeping the lanes wide, I noticed in practice yesterday they put orange cones on the floor on their fast break drill to make certain the guys do maintain spacing as they're running the drills. Ume. Boy, Ume is a story as well in terms of all that he's battled back from to be back at this point, Len.
Absolutely. Surgery on both knees, missed most of last year, has really battled back, starting to get confidence in his game again. Whenever you have those kind of debilitations, it takes a long time for you to believe that you can play this game again.
He's got his confidence back. Ball thrown away. It'll go Running Rebels ball. 4-2 ball game in the early going here. Kruger, well-known story, a graduate student who was able to take advantage of a loophole in the rule to come and play as a graduate student for his father, having graduated from Arizona State.
Well, it actually wasn't a loophole. It was an actual rule that graduate students with eligibility remaining could transfer without having to sit out, without penalty. But obviously people took advantage of it for athletic reasons, and now the NCAA has repealed that rule, and they will allow graduate students to apply for a waiver. And the NCAA needs to investigate whether or not that transfer is for athletic reasons or not. And if it's not for athletic reasons, then certainly that waiver might be granted.
Harrison's shot was blocked by Esenge. UNLV 1 of 7 from the floor. Kruger make it 1 of 8. And those of you expecting to see USC against North Carolina, we will get you to the tip of that game shortly.
Well, you talk about defense. Again, USC surprising a lot of people with the way they play lockdown defense. And you know me, defense is going to win championships. You can hold opponents under 40%. You got yourself a good chance.
Last basket by Marty Lunan, a big fellow who can knock down the three, Len. And a foul down on the paint. Ernie Kent wanted to travel. Breaking the action. Back with more after this.
And let's say it again, shot pressure. And you talk about the pace of this game. In 4 minutes, these teams are combined for 15 field goal attempts. So you know they're looking to get it up and get it up in a hurry.
Joel Anthony over the back. Joel Anthony, a 6'9" senior left-handed player from Montreal, Canada. Well, I tell you what, he's got an athletic body.
Certainly does, but again, the quick shots really not working for UNLV. They're 1 of 9 right now, and you know, obviously that's very poor shooting percentage, and particularly from beyond the arc where they're 0 for 4. You know, I think that a little bit of anxiety has crept in, a little bit of anxiousness for UNLV. They've got to be able to settle down now, and it's really going to happen on the defensive end.
Porter, well, I tell you what, small enough to get in those creases there. From the corner, Taylor, who was simply outstanding in the Pac-10 Tournament Championship game, off the mark there. Here come the Rebels. Kruger at the helm.
And that's an example, again, of being able to block off, give Oregon one shot at the basket, and be able to get down and get into your offense quickly.
Ume looking for Anthony underneath.
Well, you see how they've settled down a little bit. The running Rebels, after a good defensive sequence, they feel a little more confident right now that they can run their stuff.
Dogger for 3. Joe Dogger, 6'7" sophomore from Riverton, Utah, dropping home the 3.
Dogger, a good long-range shooter. Also penetrating kicks. You know he's going to spot up. But that's really what Oregon is all about. They'll try to play a little inside out as well.
Taylor, nice move, good pass to Bryce Taylor, who comes from basketball pedigree.
Well, he certainly does. His dad, Brian, tremendous player at Princeton and played professionally in both the ABA and the NBA.
Wink Adams for the running Rebels. 9-8 ball game.
Now the pace is picking up a little bit. UNLV kind of shaking the nervousness and starting to come out here and play the way they expect to play.
From the corner off the mark was Brooks.
Again, second possession, 1 and out for Oregon.
Kruger. Kruger off the mark early. He was a number 2 guard when he was at Arizona State, but having to play a point, he says he's getting readjusted to the responsibilities. Nice block by Joel Anthony.
Well, Joel Anthony only averages 18 minutes a game, but guess what? Defensive Player of the Year in the Mountain West Conference. And the reason is terrific timing. Blocks with both hands, and you see him with the instinct to go to the penetration. And again, we talked about Joel Anthony, 108 blocks, as I said, just averaging 18 minutes a game. That's 3 blocks in 18 minutes, and good enough to be Defensive Player of the Year in Mountain West.